And we are live. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm Melissa. This is my channel. I have Sam, Gabby, and Cynthia, and we're going to be talking about Bridgerton Season 2. We all have seen Bridgerton Season 1, and we all have read the first and second book except for Cynthia. So I'm especially excited to hear her thoughts as a non-book reader. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for joining. I hope this live is everything that you've dreamed of. And please let us know your thoughts on the show as well. So I want to start up by asking you guys. Oh, Marcia's here too. I want to start with all of your guys' opinions, a brief opinion of the overall feeling of season 2, and then give me your rating as well. So, Gabby, go ahead. I'll start with you.
All right, I feel like I'm going to be the detractor here, but I really liked season 2. I think in a lot of ways it was better than season 1. Not like 100%, but there's definitely aspects of it that I enjoyed. But yeah, overall I would give it a 4.
Thank you very much. And Cynthia?
Okay, so I got bored a lot watching it, and obviously you guys know, well, not everybody might know, but I'm not a fan of sequels, and I did not care for this season that much. But I'm going to give it a score of a 3 out of 5.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. And Sam, I want to hear what you have to say next.
So I'm not 100% confident in my overall rating just because I like to watch things at least twice because I feel like the first time I'm just very distracted with everything. Overall, it was okay. I don't think it was awful, but it wasn't anything to write home about. So I am giving it a 3.5 out of 5.
And what are your more of like your overall thoughts of the overall show?
It was okay. I feel like I have so many opinions about just like each person, and it was okay. I would watch it again. I think that as a book reader, it was hard to take the book story out of my head. So I feel like I probably would have enjoyed it more maybe if I hadn't read the book. But I don't know because Cynthia didn't read the book and she didn't care for it either.
I will start by describing my journey of watching season 2. Okay. So I wake up on Friday very early at 3 a.m. because I needed to watch it before I boarded my flights because I wanted to see it before I saw a bunch of spoilers online and to prepare for our show today. So I'm waking up at 3. I start watching it halfway through now, maybe like by episode 4 or 5. I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is okay so far. You know, some of it is kind of like dragging, some of it's a little bit boring, but it's not awful. It's not great. It's just okay. And then I finally finished the show and still think it's just okay. So as more time that I spent away from the show, as I'm getting ready for my travel day, I start thinking that this is not okay. It's bad. It's bad. Because I start feeling so mad and angry at my lack of, I guess, sort of indifference, because I didn't feel strong either way. I didn't hate or love it, right? So then I decided that I was going to watch it again because I was off from work on Monday, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a go again and see if I miss anything, because I want to make sure to watch this and see if I miss anything and see if I feel different. So while watching the second time, I did pick up on some stuff, some things that I could speak more positively about. But I do still think it was just okay. And after going in between my rating between 3 and 2, I thought 3 would be too high, but I thought 2 would be too low. But because I know it's the same creators involved, like it's the same showrunner, it's a lot of the same writers, mostly the same actors, except for the newcomers. Because of that, and because they have the source material, because of all of those things, I have to give it a 2 because I know there's potential there. Like, I know they can do better because they gave me a stellar season 1. And I am baffled at what the fuck happened. So that's why I had to give it a 2. And I think I am the one who was the most excited, who gave it the lowest rating.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. So that is how I feel about that. Since I did mention that I did give it a watch again, I will start off with the pros, with the positives, because I want to start it on a positive light. I did make a pros and cons list, and so here are my pros. And this
That's
is
so organized. God, I love it.
I know. I wanted to be so fair to this show. Look, for me, because I did read the book, obviously, I even read the reviews before I watched it. I read an article that gave a huge spoiler because I wanted to be prepared and not be distracted by all the changes. And I just wanted to watch it for what it was. I was prepared to see an adaptation. I did not expect an exact copy. That's not what I was asking for. There are some things that I don't like about the second book that I was open to seeing changes, actually. So I just wanted to preface my speech with that. So some of the pros. I'm happy. I'm happy they casted dark-skinned Asian women, South Asian women, because a lot of the times, like, colorism is a thing, and mostly light-skinned girls do get casted in these types of things. So I love seeing like that dark, rich skin on screen. So I'm gonna say that I love seeing that. And Simone Ashley, and I can't pronounce her first name, but her little sister, gorgeous, gorgeous, dark Asian women. So I love seeing that. I think they did a good job showing Kate being very much like Anthony. They're both like the eldest siblings. They're both kind of domineering and controlling and very overprotective. I think they did a good job, but having said that, it doesn't really go anywhere, and I'll go more into that. I liked seeing more of Anthony's vulnerability. That's something that I was hoping for because he is so like aggressive and abrasive sometimes. And I was just hoping to see more of like his vulnerability. I wanted to see that. And I think, they showed more of his trauma. It kind of didn't go anywhere again, but I'll go more into that. Lastly, it is still very aesthetically beautiful. It, like, the colors, it's like all like the pastels and the candy color, and it has like a warmer tone to it. And you can even see that on the promotional posters. And I think the dresses for a lot of the cast members were better. And I appreciated they toned down some stuff as well. Like with Cressida Cowper's hair was very distracting last season, and they kind of toned down her hairstyle. So I appreciated that. And that's the end of my pros list. I feel like I've been talking for a long time. If anybody else wants to jump in before I go into my cons, because my con list is long. So
I will say,
yeah, go ahead.
I agree with, not that it's okay for people to do certain things, but I like understanding why characters are the way they are. It doesn't make it okay when they do or don't do something, but there's a reason people are the way they are. And I really liked the flashback scenes that we got to understand why Anthony is the way he is.
Yeah, I agree. They had like a really good character development with him, which I remember season 1. I told you I didn't want to watch this one because I don't like Anthony. I was horrible season 1, but after watching this, I grew to actually like him, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, like you kind of like, it doesn't take away from like him, being how he is, but it's like you just kind of understand it. And I will say, and I should have said this before, the one thing that I am so grateful for that we got in this season is they got rid of his Wolverine sideburns from the first season.
Yes.
I swear, the writers are in like
I didn't know
they're all Twitter and they see that we hated it.
That what?
Because I didn't know that sideburns could change someone's face so much.
Oh yeah.
It was distracting the entire season. And I felt fine within the first season, but I was just so distracted with this part of his face that I couldn't tell you anything he did in the first season. All I did was watch his cheeks. So this was very exciting.
Like for me, I couldn't stand Anthony in the first season. And that's kind of why I didn't read like the second book for forever, even though everyone said it was like the best book in a series. I was like, I don't care about Anthony. But like, I guess in that way, I was like sort of surprised. I wasn't expecting the show to be a directed adaptation of the book because like the book is literally the same plot as the first season.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they could
Very
not
true.
just, like rehash it again. Like people would be, I think people who haven't read the books would be like, what, why is this the same thing all over again with like two different people? So I was kind of like hoping they change it, and I don't like agree with all the decisions they made, but like I agree with like what you were saying earlier about how they sort of like showed his trauma. Like I love the flashback scenes in the season. Like they were so good, and like Violet, an actress who plays her, like really broke my heart.
I love her
And,
so
like,
much.
and I love like it didn't just show like that seeing his dad die was like part of his trauma. It was also like watching his mother's grief was like also a traumatic experience. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I think that like really, yeah, that really kind of made me like, you know, fall in love with him or whatever. But I think overall though, why I like the season is that I can tell the writers really invested more time and care into the characters, like all the characters, because I'll be honest, like first season, all I cared about were Simon and Daphne. Like I did not care about any of the other characters. I was not invested in any of their stories. Maybe Penelope's to an extent, but like that was it. This season, I actually didn't mind like I mean, I actually enjoyed like 100% of each episode. Like I just liked, you know, all the different storylines, and I thought like I was definitely interested in Eloise's story and like Penelope's story, even like the Feathertons. Like I love the whole twist at the end. I thought that was really great. So yeah, I don't know. I guess ultimately it kind of made me like the show more as a whole, as opposed to like just loving like the core romance of it.
That is very interesting to hear because I have been reading a lot of the fans' reactions, and I will say it is pretty split. There's people who loved it, and there's people who hated it, and that's across the board of people who read or didn't read the book. There's people who read it who loved the show, and there's people who didn't read the book and still didn't like the show. So it's interesting to hear that take because I've been hearing a lot about how. I mean, let's just dive into it. I've been hearing a lot about how there were too many like side plots, subplots that people didn't care about, and not enough of Kate and Anthony, which detracted from the romance of the show. Which for me, I have to say I agree, and not just because of the subplots, but I'll get more into that later. But I want to hear more about Sam and Cynthia's thoughts about the subplots of the show.
I mean, I get that they need to, I'm okay with the subplots. I get that they need to, what's the word, prepare for like each season if they do plan to do all 8 or 9 of them. But if we're only getting 8 episodes a season, like, I feel like, I think maybe that's why I didn't like it more because this is Anthony's season, but was it really? Because it just, I feel like it was, I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of focus in the first season with Simon and Daphne. And so, yes, we all loved Simon or whatever, but like you got to know them as a couple. So you liked them as a couple. And I feel like we got to know Anthony separately. We got to know Kate separately. And yes, they're their own people. And I agree. You don't want it to be as similar as the first season, but like I feel like I didn't really get a lot of them together. So, and then like, I feel like what was Colin's story? Like, what was the point of him going to this chick? Like, there was no point to that. We could have done anything else. Colin, stop trying to make fetch happen. We need to move on from this. And then forgive me, I like Penelope. I do, and I'm all about she's pining for Colin. That's great. But did we need to see it that often? Like, she's this brilliant young lady who has, she's doing things. And it's just like, I don't know. It's getting a little old. Like, and I loved Colin until we're doing, spoilers are fine, right? We're doing the whole thing.
Yes, this is not a spoiler-free show.
I've always been a fan of Colin, but I did not like what he said about Penelope with the group of guys. I think it was like maybe it was the last episode where they were like, "Oh, you and Penelope, huh?" And he was like, yeah, that would never happen."
Yeah,
Colin, you're better than that.
minor spoilers for book 3, but he kind of says that in book 3, and she overhears, and she's like, "Well, I wasn't asking you to marry anymore." She's like kind of like feistier in the book.
Yeah.
So
okay. So I'm sorry. So he does say that in the book.
He says like, I think his mom suggests like courting or marrying or something like something like offhanded, and then he's like, "I would never marry Penelope Featherington." Like, what?
Like, does he say it like you know how like you misunderstand it? Like, does he mean like he's not good enough for her, or does he mean like he would never marry her?
Right, because in the
Said,
show he made it seem like she's beneath me, and I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember my interpretation of that. I think I was like,
it was like
kind of
it was
literal.
sort of like he just never would want to marry her. Like that's just not something in his frame of
That's his
reference.
friend, not his girl.
right. But I don't know, maybe because I'm a sensitive soul and I just feel bad for Penelope. But like, I don't know. I feel like there was a nicer way for him to say it, because I'd understand if he's like, "No, she's like my little sister." I get it.
Yeah.
But he just made it seem kind of like, meh. It's like that's mean. Come on.
Yeah, no, it was definitely mean. But
So I didn't like it. But yeah, I think Colin was useless. Like his story was absolutely useless for me. I like him, I do, but I wanted more Benedict. I think he's hilarious, and I'm so excited for him next season.
I think, well, because I saw an interview with Shonda, and she said that they're not necessarily going to go in order. So Sam, to answer your question, so to answer your question, I think we got more Colin and Penelope stuff because I think season 3 is going to be their season, even though it's supposed to be Benedict. But I think they have, they like kind of have a hard job. They have to balance everything. As they're telling the present story, they have to set up the next fucking story. So it's hard, right? But the reason that I don't give them too much of an excuse is because they were able to pull off a better season 1. And I'm sorry, it is a romance show, and I read romance novels. I'm in it for the main couples. I was in it for Simon and Daphne, and I was so ready to see Anthony and Kate. Again, I was so excited to see Anthony show his vulnerable side and open up to someone, and I just feel like we didn't really get to see that. So it's like they show us his trauma, and then we learn a little bit. Well, that's another thing. I feel like there should have been also flashbacks for Kate, or like at least have that conversation, like why it's affected her so much, because they are so much more alike than they realize, and you get so much more of that. Not to be this person in the book. I tried so hard not to say that. I'm restraining myself because I know it's different. It's fine. But yeah, I think I need to go down my cons list and then feel free to interrupt me because I don't want to miss any of my thoughts. Interrupt me if you want to like answer to that. Okay.
Okay.
Cons. The love triangle was drawn out for too long.
I agree.
Edwina wants and then there are some nonsensical things. Edwina wants a love match, and the Viscount doesn't love her. So why the fuck does she take forever to break off the wedding at the end of that episode? No one knows.
I feel like I agree. It shouldn't have taken that long. But I feel like at that point, she just like, I think she was just so like flabbergasted. Like, wait, what is happening? Like, I think she genuinely thought like this was a love match.
He literally could not tell her that she asked him, "Do you love me?" He couldn't answer. And she said, like, think about it. But you know that you want a love match. That didn't make any sense.
I hate that they made it a love triangle between sisters because that is so.
Yes.
Oh my god, I hate it. I
hated it.
I wanted to root for them. I really did. But honestly, I don't like that that Anthony and Kate end up together just because that was your sister. Your sister was in love with him. What are you doing?
And that's what I was afraid of. I was like, well, how are we supposed to not feel bad for Edwina if they're going to take it this far?
Yeah. Yeah, they took it really, really
look
far.
like a bitch. Like,
yeah, that was like my main issue was that I did not like the love triangle. I thought like it was, again, like this whole sisters thing, but also like it just didn't feel right. And like, I think it was hard to understand and like justify Edwina's anger, right? Even in like the latter half of the season, because you were getting more frustrated with her than you were like understanding of her. So
I felt like I understood her anger because she like they wrote it in that she fell in love with Anthony. So of course she's hurt by the sister who like practically raised her, that she's been in love with him this whole time too, but never told her. So of course she's mad and hurt. Like I understood that.
Yeah, but I
She
think
wasn't in love. Go ahead.
no, yeah, but I think like what I mean by that is like she was like then she became another like a different kind of obstacle because they couldn't be together because Kate didn't want to hurt her sister even after the fact. So like I think, you know, if you're hating the slow burn at that point, that's just like agitating that even more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like I get and I agree that you can't help who you care for. You can't help who you love. You can't help who you fall for. But you can help who you flirt with. And I do like Kate. I think there's a lot of pros to Kate, but I there's like a huge con. Like she says that she loves her baby sister and she would do anything to make her happy. And her whole life has been nothing but making everything great for Edwina. Then why do you do this? Again, you can't help how you feel. 100%. I'm not mad that Anthony and Kate like fell for each other. They had a connection. I'm not mad at that. You can't help that. But you can help how you act. And Anthony was like, you know, he was going to take care of her, all this stuff. Well, then why would you do things with her sister? Kate, you know, it's my sister. I'm going to do whatever. Why even the little looks and like you knew what you were doing. And you can help that. It's
Right.
just,
And at
it
that
was
point,
gross.
why don't you just tell your sister how you feel?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You care about her so much. You don't want things to get worse. How did you think this was going to end? Like, you guys couldn't even be in the same room without looking at each other. You think this is going to last forever? Like, that was just unrealistic.
Well, she did say she was going to go to India. So I think she thought in her mind that was going to solve it because she just was going to be in a different continent.
But then, like, was she never going to, like, visit them? Like, I can imagine, like, the first Christmas when she has a baby. Like, what is she going to do? Like,
yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, I guess, like
she convinced herself that the feelings would go away.
Yeah.
At that point, she was trying to convince the Viscount, no, you have to marry her. You have to marry her. Like, these feelings are going to go away. It's fine. It's fine. And then she, you know, crying in the woods by herself. We'll get more into the love triangle. I will go on with my list. Colin's tan from Greece was very distracting to me. It was horrible. It was very distracting.
I love that that's on your con list.
Yes.
I didn't even notice that.
It was distracting. Like,
I agree with Gabby. I didn't notice the tan that much.
Is it part of the script because he was in Greece, or did the actor, like, was he tanning for too long? Like, it was distracting to me. I hated it. I think, okay, we'll talk about the chemistry, but I think he had more passion with Sienna in season 1 versus the love of his life in season 2. I think there was some overacting. Again, this is back to the chemistry. Like, the B scene, I felt nothing but like, are you fucking serious? I feel like he was doing the most. I think he was trying to have like a panic attack, but it came off ridiculous to me.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. And I think it served no purpose.
But that scene, even in the book, kind of comes off as ridiculous.
I agree, Gabby, which is why I was for hi, Ariel. I was for the changes. Like, I hated their first kiss in the book. I thought the B scene in the book was kind of ridiculous because, like, really, like, another fucking marriage of convenience because of a bee sting.
Agreed.
But somehow they made it worse in the show. Okay, they did. I'm sorry, but they did.
I think it would have been better to find them in the compromising position, because then they would have gone like be forced to get together, and then we would actually see them like their relationship, right?
But if you're a writer in the writer's room, there's a conundrum. There was a position of being compromised in season 1.
Yeah.
So how do we now make it the same?
That's the problem. Like, I haven't read the first book, but is the first season like pretty?
It is different, but it's mostly the same.
It's like the same.
There's no queen. There's no prince.
Yeah, it follows.
Yeah,
I think season 1, like, for the most part.
For the most part, there's differences. Like, they added the prince, they added the queen. Daphne is not the diamond. And
yeah, like Daphne's like in her like second or third season in the book, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and then Anthony is actually in on the ruse. So those were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I liked the addition of the queen.
Yeah, those were all good changes,
Yeah,
Sam.
it
That was a good example of changes.
Yes,
Okay.
agreed.
And I hated the office scene. This is the scene where she like it's like the we're all gonna wear pink dresses ball, and she runs after him. Because he gets mad that she's gonna go back to India. I think that was like an overreaction. Why are you getting so mad?
show or in the book?
In the show.
Is that when he tells her that she's the bane of his existence? That part?
No. I don't remember if he says it there, but in the office scene, he's asking her, "Why don't you like me?" And then there's some overacting on her part where she's like, "You vex me," and I was laughing.
Yeah. That's the same thing. Okay, so that's the scene where the weird camera cuts that kept going back and forth, right?
Yeah. They had weird close-up shots. I hated the way it was filmed too. Yeah,
it was kind of like shaky cam in some parts, or like tilted cam. It was driving me nuts.
And it was blurry and the borders. Yeah. I didn't like that.
I didn't like any of that. That took away from that whole scene. That could have been such a good scene had they just had like a tight shot on them, just to build that tension. But that whole back and forth cut was driving me insane.
Yeah. I will also speak more about their intimate scenes and how I hated how they were shot. That was baffling. They had the same intimacy coordinator as well. I don't understand these changes. And then I wrote, was bored through most of it. Not enough of Kate and Anthony sharing their traumas with each other to make me believe they bonded. Because that's my biggest complaint, is I don't feel like I actually saw them fall in love with each other. I think that like when you do an enemies to lovers, they did a good job at showing the bickering part, obviously. But I don't understand why he felt like you're the bane of my existence and all my desires. Like I needed some sort of like maybe like some sex dreams, maybe more jealousy dreams to understand, well, why are you drawn to like be with this person?
Agreed.
Agreed.
I would have liked to see more like him getting a little jealous, maybe.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's showbiz, baby. I would have liked to see more like I like the scene where although he has no right to be jealous, you at least see a little bit of not passion, but how he feels when he's watching her on the boat with the other guy, who I liked the other guy, by the way. He was kind of funny. But like I liked seeing that. And we just we didn't get that. I think that was all we got, really.
That's all we got from them.
Why are we only getting 8 episodes? Do we know this? Do we know why?
Huh?
Why do we only get 8 episodes?
Budget, probably. Budget reason.
I mean, I disagree with that. I felt the romance. Like I thought they had good chemistry.
Tell me where, like, you have to tell me which scenes that you felt you saw them fall in love with each other.
Okay, let me revisit. So like the B scene, you definitely feel it, and like afterward they're like kind of like all breathless and freaking out, and then like okay, what happens next? And then just like their close moments, like their almost kisses, or just like their arguments, or the way they kind of like stare at each other. It's super subtle. Or like the pinky thing, like where their pinkies almost touch. Like it's moments of yearning is what I'm getting at. Like you kind of can feel the yearning. It's not, and in a lot of ways it's a lot different than the first season, because like the yearning was kind of like physically consummated almost immediately, but here it wasn't. It's very, very like it's a literal slow burn. Yeah, but I felt the burn.
I'm going to refute that by saying the heavy breathing and grunts does not an enemies to lovers show make.
Or the sniffing. Remember when he like smells her?
Yeah. So I like those scenes, like the little pinkies almost touching, the longing stares. I like all that because that's part of the slow burn. But the time that they were together, I just didn't feel like they had chemistry. Like them together, I was like, meh, same. I could be your sister.
Yes, it fell flat for me for some reason, which is so weird to me because the one thing that people are praising is the chemistry. So I feel like I'm like missing something. I didn't feel the steam and because there's also like a big uproar about how there's fewer sex scenes. I don't even have an issue with that, because even in season 1, before Simon and Daphne ever even have sex, the tension and the chemistry for me was so apparent and so thick that I feel like sometimes it felt like it was actually intimate. I felt like you could feel their feelings of like the yearning and the want and the feeling the lust and feeling the jealousy. So I don't know if because of how it was written or acted or directed, but I didn't feel like the chemistry was very strong. And going back to how I said how I felt like the trauma that they show us from Anthony kind of doesn't go anywhere in terms of leading it to him bonding with Kate, because even though we're being shown these traumatic events that he's gone through, and we are told by Kate, oh, like my father used to read to me, so like when it storms I think of him, and you know, he passed away, so now I have to like be the father of my little sister. We didn't get to see them bond over that, and I think that was a missed opportunity in my opinion, because these people are so much alike. That's probably the reason why they're bumping heads, because they are so like stubborn and in their ways, and we didn't get enough time of them together, because we're focused on fucking Colin and the fake rubies. We're focused on Lady Featherington and her daughters and trying to marry her daughter off to her cousin. We're focusing on Lady Whistledown. We're focused on Eloise and Theo and the footman who has a crush on her apparently, and then we're focused on the queen who's trying to find out Whistledown. Did I miss anything else?
I
No,
love.
but I liked all that. So I
I
don't know.
love that
Like,
they call him Cousin Jack.
oh yeah, she's like,
So good.
Cousin
It's
that we're
my
trying to marry off
favorite.
to. It's just, it is so many storylines that's detracting from the love. Like, they could have shaved some stuff down and give me more of Kate and Anthony. We were robbed, in my opinion.
but
Yeah.
the show's called Bridgerton. Like, you gotta
Yes.
see all the Bridgertons, you know? I mean, it's just like, I feel like the Featherton storyline was so much better this season than last season. I don't even remember what last season's was.
It was pretty interesting. I agree. I actually, as much as the mother annoys me, I wasn't even mad at her at the end. I was just like,
I liked
I'm
her.
impressed.
That was a boss
Yeah.
bitch moment when she kind of, you know, tricked the cousin Jack out of the family. I liked that moment, but like,
But after they kissed,
at what cost?
why are people kissing that shouldn't be kissing?
Because this is Regency England.
It doesn't matter. We're not Regency England. Please don't show me.
Hard pass. Hard pass.
I just felt like a lot of the scenes just kind of, or either dragged on or were just like boring. Like,
They
I
fell
remember,
flat.
I'm not proud of it. I skipped through because I was like, I don't care.
And you watched it once, Cynthia?
Yeah, just once is enough. Once is enough. And I've been on TikTok, and there's been so many people romanticizing it more than it is just by editing
Yeah.
it. And it's like, it's just not how it was.
Some people like it. What else do I have on here? Fall in love with your cousin. Oh, okay. This is something that also made no sense to me. Anthony's development is wonky. He's ready to propose to the one he loves, signifying he's over this hurdle, but then doesn't visit her when she's in a coma as he's afraid to lose her. Did not like that, and it did not make sense narratively. Okay, he has sex with her, and then he's ready to propose, so he goes over with the ring, marry me. But then he pissed me the fuck off when he didn't visit her when she was in a coma.
Because he thought it was his fault.
Yeah.
I kind of get that though.
Trauma with the dad. I know, but they already, okay, narratively, they already told me, okay, he's over this hurdle because he's ready to actually be with the person he loves. Before he was
But
not.
was he?
No, he wasn't though.
Was
he was
he?
just being dutiful. Like he was just being.
He
a
said before
gentleman.
he couldn't marry somebody that he loved because he didn't want to leave a grieving widow behind. So now he's ready to propose to her, meaning, okay, I'm ready to love and be with the one that I actually love.
I disagree. I agree with Gabby. I feel like they had sex, so he felt like, okay, this is what I should be doing. I think he did love her, but I don't think he was ready at that point. Yes, it would have been nice to see him like watch her like when she was in a coma. I feel like that would have been nice, but I kind of understood that he didn't go. I felt like it did kind of fit with his character. And then his mom, who is a saint, come in and like kind of be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because when she tells him, oh, she's awake, and he like starts crying, like that's the moment where he really gets it.
Yeah.
Like
I
he
did
really
like
he
that.
loves her,
Grovel.
and that he wants to marry her because he loves her, not just because he had sex with her and he feels like he's obligated now to be a gentleman and do the
Yeah,
honorable thing.
my takeaway from that was that was like a realization for him that it didn't matter if she was gonna live or die. Like he just wanted to be even a little part of her life. If in the future she dies or something, that's what I got from that. Like he wasn't ready for that. But
She should have made him grovel.
I don't.
She did reject him at first.
She did, yeah.
She did say sorry,
Yeah,
let
She was
go.
way too nice about it. I've been reading a lot of romance novels, and a good groveling scene will save a book for me. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that much. So I'm actually done with my cons list, but I'm still ready to trash this show. So.
Yeah, wait, I took notes. I'm
Let's
gonna look
keep
through my
going.
notes.
Tell
What
me
did
your
I
notes, ma'am.
what kind of shit did I talk?
Yeah.
Let's see. I wrote little, so I had, all right, this is gonna make me look crazy. The thing is that as I was writing, I was just like writing out notes. So I have like notes, but then I have side notes on it. So I have an arrow pointing to Anthony's character. And I have here, getting jealous, question mark. You proposed in front of Kate. Shut your face. I also have, okay. As much as I liked that Kate was really, that she was a strong character, and you know, I really do think that she had good intentions for the most part. I didn't like that she was kind of rude to Lady. Thank you, Annie. I didn't like that she was kind of rude to Lady Danbury.
Yeah.
She was very protective.
Which I understand,
Yeah.
but like I feel like Lady Danbury, like from the beginning, literally took them in. Like, and I felt like she never, when she was saying, like, oh, we got you guys tutors or whatever, I understand Kate being like, we don't need that. I get it. But there's a way to deliver that message to your hostess. And like, I feel like Lady Danbury was never doing it in like a malicious way or thinking like these girls didn't know what they were doing. And I just feel like she was just really short with her. That what?
I think it was a battle of like territorialism. That's not a word, but I'm making it a word. Kind of because like Danbury already had like all like their lessons planned and like their dance, and then Kate's like, well, I already done that. I think it speaks more about Kate's insecurity because in her mind, she's like, well, I've already done all of this for my sister to make sure she makes the match. Yeah.
Right. Which I get. And so that's why I'm not like super mad, but I'm a huge yes. I'm a
low-key trifling.
I'm a huge Lady Danbury fan, and I don't like people giving her attitude. So Kate lost points with me on that one. Edwina's character, poor girl, truly. But like, she didn't do much for me until she finally showed she was pissed off.
I liked her less watching it a second time.
I'm on her side because her sister super sucks, but she just like she didn't really do much for me until she got like a fire under her ass and she's like, oh wow, my sister sucks. And then I was like, yeah, she does. Welcome to the show, Edwina. I love Lady Bridgerton, Violet the mom. She is amazing. And one thing I will say that I loved that they changed from the book was that in the book, we didn't get a lot of the mom. And I feel like part of the reason why I ended up kind of liking Anthony towards the end was because of how much, like, how his mom, like, how she showed a different side of what he could be and how, like, she was just so positive and, like, you know, she recognized that, like, her son was this way for a reason, and you know, she probably felt bad because Anthony had to, like, you know, take on that role. And I just feel like Violet makes Anthony more likable for me. So she's top notch. Also, do these people not sweat? That's a really big concern for me. I'm sweating right now and the AC's on. And so it's a really big concern. So that bothers me. And okay, the casting, I like the casting. However, I don't like that the flashback between Anthony and his dad, they both look like they're 17 going through the
Yeah,
Um,
it was like his dad
That's
looks
totally
so
okay.
young.
It's totally okay because Edmund and Violet got married very, very young.
right.
Yeah,
They were
didn't
13.
Edmund die when he was like 35 or something?
He was 38, I believe.
Right, which that's fine. But my issue is that Edmund, the father, and Anthony, the son, looked the exact same age.
Yeah.
It was an issue.
Because
And that's
Edmund
when they
was
had a like
young.
pore filling filter on that whole scene. It was like,
When I first saw it, I was like, this isn't his dad. There's no way. This is a friend. This is a weird kind of thing that they're adding, but this is a friend and he's gone hunting. Benedict looks 10 years older than Anthony. Sideburns or no sideburns. That's a fact.
Really? I don't really think so.
Really?
Yes. And even in the first season, Benedict looked older. So I was like, who?
We need to look up to see who's older.
I couldn't even
IRL.
tell them apart in the first season. So
What do you mean? One of them was Wolverine. What are you talking about?
I still couldn't tell them apart. Like it took
Who am
me,
I? I'm
it took me
Anthony.
episodes to like figure out there were two brothers or three. I told you, like first season, I really didn't care about anyone besides Daphne and Simon.
they just made Anthony so unlikable in season 1. Like,
Oh, I
my
did
God,
not like him at all, and I was
not
like,
him.
I don't know.
So IRL, they are the same age.
No way.
Yeah.
I believe you for the most part, but I'm just saying. But the thing is that Benedict doesn't look old, but he looks a good 10 years older than Anthony.
That's interesting. I don't think
And
so.
it's-
But
I think so.
That's
I don't think
all
he
I
looks
focused
10 years
on.
older, but he does look like
No, he
a little older.
looked
I'm
like he
bad
would
in
be
math,
the older brother.
so
Yeah.
it might not be 10, but numbers aren't my thing. And then, of course, when the king came out at the end in front of everybody, when the fireworks came out, I was like, oh no.
That was sad.
That
Yeah,
was
I really loved Edwina in that scene.
yes. That is where she finally was just shining. And I was like, okay, we can.
did anybody think that the prince was going to make a cameo when the queen announced, hey, my nephew, he's available? Because I thought that
I
he
didn't
would
think we were going to see him. I like that we didn't. I like that it was just a little.
I honestly forgot about him.
Same.
Somebody agrees with you, Sam.
Yeah, it's an issue for me. Okay, sorry. Last thing.
No, go ahead.
The dinner with what's their name?
Miss Sheffield.
Yes, thank you. The dinner with the Sheffields. Whew.
That was a lot.
It was a lot, and although I didn't love, I think it was because I do agree we needed some major differences from the first season. But I just feel like there was so much happening and it was so much to keep track of. But I will say, I very much loved how they showed that Anthony literally without hesitation was like, we're not having any more of this. Like, that's what I wanted from Anthony more. Like, even though, like, he's not the greatest and he still was super fucked up because he was messing around with Edwina's sister. I'm not going to get over that. But he, like, we saw that side of him that, like, without hesitation, he was defending Edwina, the mom, and Kate, the mistress.
Did you guys know that was Giles?
Yes.
Did not know.
Yes. Who would have thought? Just, but yeah, that was a great scene for me. Anthony won some points.
Mm-hmm.
Still, slept with the sister. But he did win some points for me. So
I think one person we haven't talked about is Daphne, who I really love this season.
Who?
Daphne.
Yeah,
exactly.
Daphne was like the only one who realized, oh, I actually know who you actually love. She was like the first person.
Yeah, I think she was like kind of the audience surrogate, like the one who's like kind of like the scene that they're catching eyes a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really liked her this season. The fact that she was able to kind of like.
It really bothered me that I know that Simon wasn't gonna be in the season, but it really bothered me how she was just always there, and it's like, I didn't leave my baby with my husband to just be here, but like, why are you here?
I thought that like they would have mentioned where he was, but they didn't say where he was at all.
No, it's like, who is he?
I thought that was weird that they didn't say like because he's a duke, so that means he manages a lot of estates. So I thought they would mention like, oh, he's off busy fucking off somewhere because he's busy, but they didn't do that.
I think it was a little odd to have. I mean, I agree. I do like. I was okay with her role, but I think we did see her a little too much without Simon. Obviously, not that because she's married, she needs to always be with him, but it just like we know why he wasn't there. So I feel like there was just really important moments, like the wedding at the very end when they all get together. Like there was just things where you're like, it's just like weird that he's not here.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little weird, but
I mean,
I didn't hate it.
I mean, do you think they should have recast then? I mean,
no, there would have been riots.
Like at the same rate, like they couldn't stop like Renee from not.
I wasn't mad that he wasn't there because I was prepared for it, but I just thought it was weird that they didn't at least mention where he was because it was weird that he wasn't there with his wife and child. So I just thought it was strange.
Yeah,
but I was ready for Reggae to not be back. Does anybody else have any other thoughts? So like I had mentioned earlier, there was some early reviews came out and they all kind of noted how it was like less steamy, fewer sex scenes. Did you guys feel a way about that, or were you fine with how it was?
No, that was fine. The longing stares did it for me. That was enough.
The what?
The longing stares and the pining, that was fine for me. I didn't need any steamy stuff.
I could have done with like a little more steam. Well, no, I don't know.
I'm saying like specifically sex scenes because I think there's a difference between steamy and like sex scenes.
No, I mean I'm talking about sex scenes. I think it was fine. Just one's fine.
Okay. I think it was okay.
At the same time, go ahead.
Go.
Okay, so like at the same time, they didn't have a lot of scenes together, so it's like.
I think I would have liked. I think.
What is C19, Chris? What is that? Oh. We can't say that word on YouTube because I'll get demonetized. But
I know what it is.
I get you. Okay.
I got it.
I'm going to pretend. Yay, I know what it is too.
The panini.
The panorama, boo. The panorama.
Okay. Understood. I think I would have liked I think, Mel, you had mentioned it. Maybe not like a sex dream, but like a steamy dream or something like that. Because we get that. We get that in the book, don't we?
He has a sex dream about her, yeah.
So I feel like it doesn't have to be like, full on, but just like a little something. I feel like I'm okay with the slow burn, and I do agree that like the looks were good, the little hand touches, like I liked all that. I just feel like it was a little too slow. I feel like what we got in the end we were like we waited this entire time for this.
It didn't pay off.
But also, maybe if it did pay off, honestly, I probably would still have a problem with it because I don't think I can get past that it's her sister. It just bothers me.
So when Edwina forgives her sister, you do not forgive her sister?
No.
It's just
she did almost die, which they only added that because so that Edwina could forgive her.
I know.
It's still that's your sister. What are you doing?
That's like I mean I don't want you to die, but like you still I don't know. I didn't like it.
And this was my worry because once I saw the trailers, you obviously could tell that they were going to play up the love triangle, which there really isn't one in the book. In the book, I liked it because actually Edwina is the only one who saw it coming. And she's like, I knew it. I knew he liked you. So it was like the opposite in the fucking book. Yeah. So I forgot my train of thought here.
Well, I feel like if they would have done it like that, I would have been a little okay with it because
because she
didn't really care about him.
She never falls in love with him in the book.
Right.
I
She fought
think
for
that's
somebody
why
else.
it's so difficult, because if she didn't really care for him, if she was just going through the marriage because she was in on the scheme with the Sheffields, I feel like it wouldn't have bothered me as much. It still would have been a little odd. But the fact that they made Edwina's character love him, that's where I'm like, no
I think
matter
that was
what,
the
it's just
thing.
weird.
That was my fear because of the trailers. They played up the love triangle and the promotional photos. Like they made it look like, oh, she's actually really into him. And I was like, well, how are we supposed to root for him and Kate?
Right.
I wasn't
But
rooting for
Gabby ended up rooting for them. I want to hear
I
more about Gabby.
did. I mean, I don't know. I'm a horrible person. I don't have a sister.
No, you're not.
Maybe that's why. But
No,
like,
what? What did you say?
no, I don't have a sister, so maybe that's why. Like, no, I mean, I don't know. I guess like I just felt it, and I was just like, I mean, I like that they changed Edwina and like made her a little bit more powerful in the end and like stand up for herself. Like, I love those scenes. I think she's in that way a much richer character than in the book.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, I don't like how she sort of became this like additional obstacle after the wedding, and again, it wasn't necessarily like I didn't understand her anger. I think it was justified. It was just like it just was like for me, I like to go back to your first question. I wanted more sex scenes. Like I think that's what like made the first season like really different, because like the core of like a Regency romance, especially the novels, is that they are, you know, they have a lot of sex scenes, and you never see that on TV. Like they just, you know, you think of like Pride and Prejudice of when you think of period romances and like stuff that's like what this season was mostly. So I thought like season one was really kind of changing that and being a lot more provocative, and they weren't as provocative this time around in that sense. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, which at first, when I heard that there were fewer sex scenes, I was confused because I feel like so much a part of this show's brand is that it's steamy and it's different from the Jane Austen PBS shit that we usually watch, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was
Okay, don't call Pride and Prejudice shit.
I said Jane Austen PBS shit.
You said PBS shit. So like
PBS, she called shit. PBS.
PBS.
Okay.
I'm not.
How dare you?
I'm not.
I'll
saying
leave right
that
now.
It's shitty. I'm just using it as a as like a word placer.
Euphemism.
I'll allow it.
So I thought it was weird when I heard that there were fewer sex scenes, because it's so part of that brand. And even during the marketing of season one, they kept saying, "This is not your grandmother's period piece. This is you know, this is for our time now." So that was strange.
Which I think was a draw for people.
First, I wasn't
too.
bashing it. Calm down. What did you say, Sam?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Chris gets me.
What did you say, Sam?
That I think that was a big draw for people that were watching the show, that it was like steamy or whatever. So I feel like I'm sure people were a little let down, whether you like it or not. I think, like you said, they had said it's not your grandmother's whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people, whether you're into that genre or not, I think it was still, you're like, oh wow, this is happening.
It's different.
Yeah.
But having said that, again, I went in prepared. Okay. And I could understand after hearing Chris Van Dusen, the showrunner, talking about, you know, it's like a different love story, because season one is so much about sex because of the whole kids and no kids issue. And, you know, Daphne being very ignorant and like Simon not wanting kids, like that had to be a large part of their story. And I understand. And then and I think, again, because to make it different, because like halfway in the book, they do get married and then they're having sex all the time. So I think maybe that was a way to set it apart as well, because it's the same thing. Like he's a rake, she's a virgin. He's teaching her all the new ways. It is very similar. So I get the conundrum in that writer's room. So I guess seeing it in that way, I would have been okay with just the one sex scene if it were better. I feel like it was shot weird.
Like,
First it was in the dark. So I had to like get my computer like brightness all the way up so I can see anything.
It was mad dark. It was like the angles, they made the borders blurry. At one point I was like, wait, are they still in the gazebo or are they inside now? But
I didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
I was like, did they get dressed and go somewhere? Did they like run covering themselves into another room?
No, they were there the whole time.
They were there the whole time, but I didn't know that until like he woke up the next day.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't like it's so like drastic cuts from one scene to the next, and then it's just like darkness, and then it's like, what's happening?
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
I
But I
didn't
feel like
the
the
way it
whole
was
show
shot.
was filmed like that. It was a lot of just cut here, cut here, cut here, cut here. Like if they were trying to piece together like a whole like different scenes.
Even like the final sex scene, like at the very end, was kind of like that. It was just sort of like a
When
moment.
they were done and it was not a sex scene. Go ahead.
Yeah, essentially.
There was a final sex scene.
It wasn't like a full sex scene. It was like them in
It
bed.
They're just like in
yeah,
bed
it was
and they're
afterwards.
finished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were in
Oh,
bed.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was happy about seeing dark nipples on the screen again. Just shout out to my girls with the darker nipples because we don't see ourselves enough. I'm just gonna say that.
Ooh, we can make shirts.
Um,
Shout out to my girls with the darker nipples.
dark hashtag dark nipples. Make that trend, Chris. I would flash, but YouTube would demonetize me. Just kidding, just kidding. I would never do that.
Yeah, don't lose the money.
These scenes, yeah, their sex and after sex scenes were shot really weird. I don't understand that choice either. Side boobs. Okay, flash chest. Okay.
You know what scene was awkward for me? And in the
Mhm.
and they played it a lot in the trailers when he falls into the water.
Oh
Mm.
yeah, because
And
that's like
then
the Darcy wet shirt scene.
Yeah, that was a direct Darcy callback.
But it was just so like I don't know how to explain it. Like I remember watching and I'm like, what's happening? He's just taking off everything in the water, like waist deep. They're just staring at him. No one's doing
The
anything.
trousers were weighing him down, Cynthia, so he had to take them off so that he could come out all glistening.
Okay, sure. It was waist deep water. Just walk.
It was a
That's
great
true.
shot. This is the thumbnail of
I
this
liked
show.
it.
I
I
will
mean,
do that.
I appreciated it.
But then they like cut it as soon as he like went to get up. He just like cut. That's it. Done.
Yeah,
It was a
that's
short
all we
scene.
got.
Yeah, it was a short scene. I remember thinking in the book, like, I wish I could see Kate being courted more because she's not courted at all in the book. So I like that they added that scene of her on the boat. I could have used a little bit more of that so we could see more of a reaction from Anthony.
Mhm.
But then you fall into the trap of making it like the first season. I don't know. It's hard. I think this season is a 2 for me because it was hard to write to make it different from season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say something and I forgot. Does anybody want to say something? Say it now.
I just want to reiterate that like Violet's kind of my MVP of the season.
Violet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Oh,
I
okay.
love her.
Okay. Here we go. I guess we should give some time to the side fucking story since they put him in the show. What are your thoughts on? Because I see a lot of people upset over the friendship breakup between Eloise and Penelope. How do you guys feel about that? And how do you feel about Eloise finding out the truth? Was it like too easy, or are you like, oh my god, finally? Or what are your thoughts?
I was like, finally. I would be annoyed if she didn't figure it out by the end of season 2 because I think it was like pretty obvious to her. I mean, and I think like the stuff with the queen, it just built up to that. So like it was kind of sad to see them like kind of break up and
Chris gets it.
Yes, Chris.
but yeah, that was a sad moment. But like I mean, I think it's really gonna be I'm really intrigued to see where it goes next. And part of me thinks like season 3 is gonna be Penelope and Colin because I can't see another season of her just staring at him. Whining at him.
Who? Sorry, who?
And
No, I'm saying I'm hoping that they switch up the order and like season 3 is Penelope, Colin.
Yeah, they are shifting the order. I think it will be Penn and Colin, which they didn't really help make me care about their relationship though.
Because they don't have one. It's just her staring at him.
Yeah.
Have y'all read that book yet? Because
I didn't read that book, and I will not read that book until the entire series is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't, but I want to read.
Don't read it till after, Sam. Don't do it to yourself. We're not gonna like it. We're not.
I'm
Don't
not
do
gonna
it.
watch season 3 to be honest.
I won't promise anything. I'm gonna try not to, but I will say, I think, I feel like, of course, I think I would have been annoyed if Eloise didn't get mad at Penn. Like, there has to be repercussions, like whether you like Penn or not, whether you're a fan of Lady
I
Whistledown.
agree. She's
Like,
writing mad shit about people all the time.
everybody needs to like I know what happens. I'm pretty sure what happens with Colin and Penn, but like I am so curious how it happens, because
Yeah.
everything that she's done, or everything that she said, like I think Eloise had the perfect reaction. Like, of course this was going to happen. Like, I'm so curious what happens next.
Yeah, I don't really know how you come back from that, especially because she also like kind of messed up Colin's whole thing.
Right. Which I'm not terribly mad at, because I'm glad Colin didn't end up with the chick.
Yeah.
What's her name? The other one?
Marina.
Yeah.
Marina, thank you.
Marina.
But I just I feel like I'm so curious how, because I know that Penn's identity is revealed, I think in book 4, right?
In her book, yeah.
So I'm so curious first how it gets revealed to the ton, and then how people eventually forgive her. I know that much, and she ends up with someone. So like I'm just so curious how that happens. So I did like, I mean, obviously I hope that her and Eloise can make up, because I do like their friendship. I think it's a really solid one. But like, of course this was gonna happen. Like, Eloise was gonna be like, yeah, I get it. No,
man, she bad mouthed her like.
Yeah, and I get that Penelope did it. I know, I understand why she did it, and maybe eventually we'll see that it was like the good thing to do. But like, you can't see that right now. We need that conflict.
No, I feel like she could have gone to the queen. She could have explained herself. She didn't have to do that to her friend, because that's like the ultimate like.
True.
You think she should have revealed herself to the queen? The queen wanted her like head.
No, she wanted Eloise to be like her like minion or whatever. It's like to like
They wanted to
with
team
her.
up, like be allies.
So she would have been like, okay, you're gonna work for me now.
But
I feel like it was maybe too easy for her to figure it out, but I'm happy that she did figure it out. Because I also didn't want to go through another season of her being a detective trying to find this person out. And I thought I was thinking Penelope has the audacity to react to Eloise's reaction. Like, oh, you're just jealous because I did something. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Bitch, please.
Yeah. How dare you? Penn, how dare you?
Her name is Penn. Jeez.
Yeah.
Speaking of Eloise, I still don't like that character. I don't know if it's the actress's interpretation or if it's how she's written, but she comes off so like, okay, Cynthia, she is what I call a standstill character. And what that means is they give this bitch one desire and one thing to do, and that's it. So it's always the same thing with her.
I don't really agree, because I feel like this season she was more like,
she's still against marriage, marrying, being the diamond, and fighting Whistledown. What's the difference?
But I feel like Penn is all about Colin. That's all she focuses on.
But at least we get to see more of her trying to navigate and be secretive with her Whistledown stuff. Her teaming up with the dress lady.
Eloise was going down to the publishing thing, trying to like.
Yeah. And I feel
doing
like
like a feminist thing. Like, she wasn't just doing Whistledown stuff. She was also like going to like those meetings.
Yeah, like the underground stuff.
Eloise is my favorite, right?
The what?
Huh?
Honestly, her storyline was also boring, so I don't remember what the meetings were about.
I feel like everybody's storyline was boring this season. It was just a boring season in general.
No facts. I don't disagree.
Oh no, I like Benedict.
He's just really funny, but he wasn't high or drunk the whole time. But
I was entertained.
I don't know. I read his book and I was really bored by it. Yeah, I finished it.
What were your thoughts? No spoilers because Sam hasn't read it.
It was boring. I didn't like
it. Was it? Oh,
really?
No. That makes me so sad. I love him.
I just didn't like, I don't know. I think he's a lot more lively on the show. Like, I mean, also too, like, honestly, I think if I recall from the first season, I thought he was like coded as queer. So like,
that's what they made it seem like in season 1.
Yeah,
it made it seem like this season too. I thought that's what they were going with, but
yeah, that's what I thought that was gonna happen too. But then, yeah, but besides the fact, like the book itself, I don't know, it was like the first half is it's like a Cinderella story, and I don't know.
Cinderella trope.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know.
Maybe because I love Cinderella that I liked his book.
But Violet is really good in that book.
Yes, Violet has a bigger role in that book, actually.
I love me some Violet.
So
Yeah,
it's worth reading just for her, to be honest.
Yeah, those scenes with her and Benedict will be, well, I don't want to say it will be interesting because I don't know what they're gonna chop up. So I don't recommend that you read it yet, Sam. I'm telling you, wait till the series is over.
But then I'm probably not gonna want to read it afterwards.
You will. Just put it on your TBR, because otherwise you're gonna read it and then we're gonna be disappointed again.
I mean, I feel like that's the life that I've chosen as a reader.
I didn't read it, and I was still disappointed. So
that's true.
You read your book, Sam. You do that.
Thank you.
I'm
Cynthia.
trying to save you from the disappointment.
I was disappointed, and I didn't read.
You're one person.
That they could.
It's not just me.
It might be more like it might be a more faithful adaptation because Benedict's story is different enough than like the first book.
That's a good point. It's true. This is true. And I also usually do like the class difference trope, and that is a large part of the obstacle in that book. And I do like the Cinderella trope. So I liked Benedict's book. I've only read 1, 2, 3, and 8. I haven't read the other ones.
Is that how they're going with Eloise's story too? Like a class, a different class?
Hers is not a class difference one.
No, she marries the guy that Marina's married to in the books. Sorry,
but I feel like they may change that because I feel like they may change that. So
I didn't read that book yet, but I just read the summaries for all of them, and I read like the Bridgerton family tree and Julia Quinn's website.
Well, I hope they change that if he's with Marina.
Well, I think Marina dies. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Gabby, I told you not to spoil because Sam hasn't read it yet.
I'm so sorry.
Sam plans to.
All right. I'm done for the night. So
I told you not.
Everybody have a good
show. No, but like, we might not kill her off in the show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but she wants to read the book.
Well, I don't even know if it happens though, because I just judged that from reading the family tree. So I could be wrong. It could be a wrong interpretation.
Or maybe if they're divorced and she's not in the tree.
Yeah, maybe they decided to divorce.
That's fine. Gabby, I'm going to need your direct contact because as I'm reading, I'm going to be like, damn you. Every other chapter.
We'll get like random text messages one day.
It becomes like I think
so angry at me for some reason. I'll be like, what the hell? I'm so sorry. No, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to steal you.
I will say, if I do choose to read the books, what I might do, which I've done before, is that when if I read a book and then immediately watch the show or movie, that's when it's so fresh and I'm a little disappointed. But if I were to read the books now, before any of the seasons come, I feel like I'll be okay because I'll remember maybe the big things, but like it won't be fresh in my mind. So I might be okay with it because that's happened to me in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
mean, am I ever going to forget that Gabby told me everything else?
Yeah, you might forget everything I just said.
No, I doubt it.
You're going to get a text at like 4 a.m, like, I haven't forgotten.
Will you forget? I reread Viscount Who Loves Me in November, and I still remembered a lot of it. But maybe because I reread it.
I made that mistake. I finished the hating game over the weekend, and then I watched the movie.
That movie's awful, and I didn't read the book.
I read the book, but I haven't watched the movie yet.
It is so bad, Gabby. They changed
I've done. I haven't read it. I haven't seen it.
No, I'm not going to spoil it. Just for the movie, the order in which everything happens is mixed up, and it gives a whole different narrative.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like everything before the wedding changes.
Oh, Amy agrees. That movie's terrible.
Terrible. Horrible.
I agree. I'm just gonna go twist it right back to Bridgerton season 2. We had Anthony, Kate, Edwina, Eloise, Whistledown. I'm leaving these names in case you guys have any more ideas and thoughts. Any more thoughts about the chemistry and the story? Well, did the story land for you? Did it stick the landing? And I think the only way that we can judge that is, what do you think they set out to do? And did they tell their story? So did they stick the landing?
I think they set out to make a lot of money.
Oh.
Give me a real answer.
And they did. It's like the most watched thing.
Yeah.
They did. It's
That's
like
what
190 something hours watched in the first weekend.
This was a literal cash grab for me. Like, I don't feel like the story. I feel like it wasn't complete. That's just how I feel right now. There should have been more episodes to show the romance building. There should have been more scenes with them together.
Agreed.
I agree.
And none of that. So I feel like, okay, they're together now. Great. Fantastic. Good luck with that family.
Which family? They love Kate.
No, her sister.
You know, was it weird to anyone else, like in the final scene when they're like in love and they're playing Pall Mall again, that like Edwina and Mary aren't there?
I was thinking about that. But I guess they were just with the Bridgertons. But then Lady Danbury was there, right?
It was weird. I don't know if Danbury were there, but like,
Yeah,
where's Kate's
I
family?
think she was there. I think Lady Danbury was there.
I know they didn't go back to India.
She was there because that scene where like Daphne's like reaching out for her baby and he's like already walking.
Yeah, but where was Edwina and Mary? They were not there. It was weird.
I mean, I don't think
All right. Sorry to interrupt. Let me hear your final thoughts, Sam.
I mean, I don't know what they set out to do. I don't know. I wanted to like it more, but I had a hard time getting past the fact that it was two sisters. I think, and I know, like, I don't mean to harp on it, but I feel like I might have felt a different way.
Mm-hmm. Did you freeze?
Oh,
do you see me?
Yeah.
I see you. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like I would have felt a different way if they weren't sisters. So for me, it was hard for me to look past that. So I don't think whatever they were trying to do. Well, I think they were trying to make us fall in love with Anthony and Kate, and I just couldn't do that. So it didn't stick for me. I didn't hate it. Like, is it something that I might watch again in the background? Maybe, but I couldn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to.
Will you tune in to season 3?
Oh yeah. I'm talking all the shit because I am absolutely watching every other season, and I'm gonna.
Do you think you'll tune into season 3?
Maybe.
It's okay to not know
I think you will. I think you will.
I mean, I probably will because of you guys, but like, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't. Like,
I feel like you will, because I feel like we're gonna be like, man, this season's gonna be garbage. We don't trust it, and then the week before, we're gonna be like, you're gonna watch it, right?
Watch it.
It's gonna happen.
The show.
Exactly.
Gabby, your final thoughts, and will you watch season 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as like what the show is setting out to do, I think the main thing it was setting out to do was be different than the first season in whatever way it can. But like, I mean, ultimately, like it did leave me wanting more because I did want to see them together, like see their relationship grow and like have them interact more as a romantic couple. So I think in a lot of ways, like there's like a thing, like a theory I have that they kind of do that to sort of build up the fandom, right? Because then we go online and we see 50 billion fan cams of them like loving all these moments and like replaying them because like that's all you got, and it kind of like gives the show life beyond like the first few weeks it comes out. But anyway, I would return for season 3. I'm really curious who's gonna be in season 3, like the main couple. But like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it. Even though I didn't like Benedict's book, I will still watch his story because yeah.
For me, it didn't stick the landing for reasons I already talked about. For me, there was just a lack of chemistry, not enough scenes of Cantony as they've been named. I didn't really feel like I saw them fall in love. It was almost too much of a slow burn, almost too much of an enemies to lovers, and not enough time for the loving. I just feel like they kind of let the ball drop there. And I just feel more sad because I'm disappointed. I was just really, 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 really excited for this. And I think enemies to lovers, I think, is arguably the most popular trope. And I was excited to see it. And it just didn't make me happy. But I will still tune into season 3 because I know myself. I will be curious enough to tune in, and I have no idea what we're gonna get in store. I think it will be Colin and Penelope, so they're not gonna go in order. So I'll be curious enough to tune in. But I'm ultimately left disappointed, and I'm sticking with my 2-star rating.
Can I ask you a question? Like, if they do another slow burn season like this one, will you be like totally off the Bridgerton boat?
No, well, Gabby, I don't hate slow burns. I like them when they're done well.
Well, like if they kind of, if you like the next season just as much as you like this one, will you no longer like Bridgerton? Like, would you continue beyond that?
I would be even more disappointed if I like it as much as this one. I would be even more hurt. Because I think even now I'm like holding out some hope that like this was a fluke and they were in their heads. And it was difficult because they had to shut down production like twice because of the panorama. Yeah. So that was difficult. And I also, I feel bad because I don't want to trash because I believe they all worked really, really hard on it to bring it to screen. And I think I am still kind of secretly hopeful. It just, this one kind of left a disappointed taste in my mouth, you know?
Yeah.
But again, I guess I'm secretly hopeful that season 3 will be better, but I can't hold out. Like I can't hold my breath for it. I have to be really, really realistic about it so that I don't have to be so disappointed again.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
They really need to fix that camera work though. The camera work this season was not it.
It was weird. I have to look up the cinematographer to see if it's the same person because it was weirdly shot.
I kind of want to rewatch the first season to see if they use the same camera movements because I just don't remember it being like that.
No, it was different.
Yeah. There was a lot of wide shots. For season 1, there was a lot of wide shots, but like, and yeah, they did the Dutch angle so many times this season that it was just like, why? It's not even like warranted in that scene.
Yeah,
I don't know. I want to look up who the DP was and is for this season because
maybe just to show like how like unnerved they were because like usually that's when you use a Dutch angle, right? To show like the unease and like create
and like I understood sometimes why it was kind of like not a steady cam because like he's feeling distorted and she's feeling like she's off her axis, and I get that, but like the almost kisses, the way that was shot was driving me crazy. It was just, it was too tight and too blurry.
That scene, I feel like that scene had the best line of the whole of even season 1 because I Burned for You was good, but that whole like you're the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires. Oh my god, I love that line. But the way it was shot, I missed it the first time. I'm like, what did he say? I was so distracted by the cuts and then the angles and the blurriness and just everything. I'm like, what's happening? I'm disoriented right now.
I feel you. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this chat. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun.
Always.
And I hope you guys will join me on future chats for whatever next show that I get obsessed with or want to talk about. And I will end with a positive note saying there's nothing like a man saying your full name, because when he said Katani Sharma, I was like, oh, you better say my full name. Say my name. Say my name.
Look how simple it is.
All right, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.